beautiful people. My name is Priska, for the ones who don't know yet. And I wanted to share today my journey or my story of not being a mom. So, for a little background information, me and my husband, Bas, together we are relationship, love, and intimacy coaches, expert coaches. And in the past, we have been working a lot with single women who actually craved a relationship, and we're now transitioning more and more into the couples work. But of course, working with women for such a long time, and also as an individual coach, me even before I met Bas, I have been a coach, and I've been working with so many women, and I just have the feeling, or I got the impression over all these years, that no matter if you always wanted to have kids or if you never wanted to have kids, like just this, the hormones at one point in a woman's life become like really screaming into your face, and like the question of wanting to have kids or not wanting to have kids becomes really, really important. And especially with the women we've worked with in the past, when it comes to relationships, like this urge of wanting to have a child or a family on their own, or working with people who are in a relationship and there's infertility, like it really is a big, big topic, and it's something that goes really, really deep, because like I don't know, like within our way, like within every woman's body, there's this possibility of creating a child, and if you choose to not have a child, or if you cannot have a child, it impacts you. And yeah, I just wanted to share my story. And of course, my story is just my story. And I respect every choice, any woman makes in her life around kids and choosing to have kids or not having kids or whatever. And I'm just sharing my own personal story, because I know that many women would love to hear other women's stories, and or maybe also for the women who wanted to be a mom and couldn't be a mom, to just also know how other women are dealing with that, because I wanted to be a mom, and I'm almost 100% sure that I will not be a biological mom in this life. I'm 39 years old right now, and yeah, I made the choice of not becoming a mom, and I'm going to share a bit more about that in the coming minutes. So, where to start? Well, I never wanted to be a mom, honestly. In my early teens or late teens, even, like as a young woman, I really was very clear. I wanted to be an actress, and I became an actress, and I just wanted to, wanted to be famous. I wanted to make a career. I wanted to be on stage, be in front of the camera, doing all the things that I wanted to do so desperately, and I wanted to have a creative, adventurous life. So I couldn't see how having a child would fit into this picture that I painted for my life. And I really stuck to that, even though everybody who met me always said, like, oh, you're so great with kids. And I love kids. I always have loved kids. They are amazing. And even before I became an actress, I became a teacher, because I kind of had to learn a job, and my parents supported me in learning a job that wasn't acting. So before I went to acting school, I became a teacher. So I have been working for, like, also next to my acting jobs that I had later on, I was often working with kids, and I love kids. And people always were like, oh, you're going to be such a great mom. And I'm like, always, yeah, I'm not sure if I'm going to be a mom. So fast forward, I think I was around 27 years old, and all of a sudden, the biological clock hit me like a rock on the head. I'm like, it was crazy, because I really remember the moment when all of a sudden I had this deep, deep craving for having a baby with my back then boyfriend. And we were we just moved in together, and yeah, we had a difficult story. We really did. But yeah, I would call him the first love of my life for sure. And I really thought, like, I really want to be with that man for the rest of my life, and I want to have a family with him. And yeah, that was the first time ever when I really felt like this urge to have a baby. And it also started because, it might also have been influenced by the acting because I played a mom in a play, and I went so much into mom mode. I really like smelling babies and everything. I was really going into this role of, okay, how is it to be a mom with a newborn? And I really was like doing so much research, and that this really sparked something within me. But next to that, I really also was in this relationship, and I really craved for having a family and having something stable in my life, anyhow, because like nothing in my life was stable, literally nothing. I constantly was traveling around with all these jobs I had to sustain my life, and I also was exhausted from having nothing really fixed in my life. And I was really ready to settle down. Anyhow, so I craved to have a baby, and this baby, this girl, she started visiting me. I already started my spiritual journey as well, and she just kept popping up. I saw her. I could still paint a picture how she looked like with black curls, and yeah, she had my chin, and yeah, I really I like her name was Emma. It was so obvious. Like I really knew this would be the child that would be mine. She would be coming to me, and I shared all these thoughts and feelings with my partner back then, and he wasn't ready at all for this. And actually, this whole conversation led to a breakup, and yeah, it was a very painful thing and situation because he really realized he didn't want to have children, but this wish of having this child stayed with me. And I, for a long time, I really thought, this Emma, she's going to come. And I also thought that, like, me and my back then partner, we got back together. It was a lot. It's a long story, I tell you. But anyhow, it's like, I also was very sure that he would be the father. That was very clear to me. And then I don't know exactly when it was. At one point, Emma disappeared. I didn't dream about her anymore. I couldn't see her, like that regularly anymore. I literally dreamt about her in my sleep, but I could also see her. And the crazy things, even one of my friends, she can see her too. She can still see her up till this day. I don't. She doesn't visit me anymore. And I really felt like she was leaving. She was going away from me. Like she chose another parent to be her parent. And good for her, because obviously, yeah, there was not a way that I could give birth to her because me and who I thought would be her dad were not together anymore. And then Bas, my now husband, came into my life, and he is a father of two, and the kids back then were 8 and 10 years old, or even a year younger. I'm not 100% sure anymore. 8 and 10, 8 and 10, I think they were, or 7 and 9. I think when we met at the beginning, and we had a conversation very early on, and I said, "Would you want to have more kids?" And he said, "Actually, no. I think I'm complete. I never wanted more than 2 kids." Also, he very early on in our relationship got because he had cancer in 2010. He had stage 4 cancer and had like so many chemos and a stem cell transplantation. So he was quite sure that that he was infertile due to all his treatment, and he made a checkup like to really figure out if I could get pregnant, and his sperm is practically dead. So like it was very clear that he was infertile and that we wouldn't have our own biological kids. And I was okay with that. I really, this love that I felt for him was so much more important. Also, having in the back of my head that I actually never wanted to be a mom, for such a long time in my life, and yeah, and I just entered the relationship without hesitation. And only when I then later on moved in with him and also moved in with his kids, and well, my whole blended family story is a story on its own. It was like, I can only say it was really difficult for me, even though the kids were amazing, and it has not been the cliche at all, because I was afraid the kids wouldn't like me. This was never the problem. This really was the smallest of issues that I've had. There were so many factors. I had no idea that they would be a thing, that they would exist. It really has been a challenging journey for me up till this day. It's sometimes still challenging. and certainly the biggest, self-development course I could have ever gotten. Um, yeah, but at one point I really realized, like I'm living like a mom, and I'm not the mom. I'm not the mom, and I was always very clear in that. I mean, like I'm a mom figure, yes, if the kids are bi-weekly with us, and the other week they're with their mom. I'm a mom figure. I'm an important person in their life. I absolutely see that. And still, like you as a stepmom, you don't get invited to important class talks, from school. There's so many times where you just are non-existent. You're just non-existent in the system, because there's a mom, there's a dad, and and this is true, and they're there, and they're the most important people, and they make the decisions. 100% clear on that. And still, I'm bound from time. I'm bound to this house. I had to live here because of the kids. There's so many things that I cannot do, like traveling that I would love to do. So many things that that I actually would have been doing, if I wouldn't be this mom figure. Yet I'm not a mom. And I think when I turned 30, like I entered a relationship with Bas when I was 32 years old. And I think around 35, 36, that's when I really had a big crisis of, do I really not want to have kids? And we were, like talking a lot about if 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 we would yeah, also consider alternative things like going to the seed bank, becoming pregnant from another, other person, and yeah, becoming parents in this way, so that I still would have also a biological child. Because I have to say, I also sometimes literally was jealous of this unconditional love that I see between parents and kids. And I do love my stepkids so much, really, don't get me wrong, but still, and I'm not ashamed to say that anymore, because I had a lot of shame around that. It's a different kind of love, and it's not a better love or a worse love, but this unconditionality. I never had that. Also because, of course, I never had the hormones. I never had these binding, moments that you have when you're giving birth to a child, or if you're getting pregnant, all these things. I really also really thought that it would be such an amazing experience to, also live through pregnancy. And, we were going through all these options, Boss and myself, and he, even though he really was done with having kids, he's also 11 years older than I am. So he was around 47-ish, when I was, going through this whole process again of really making a clear decision whether I'm closing that door or not. And it was a process, and I really realized, no, I don't want to go, like there were several reasons why I chose not to get pregnant. First and foremost, because I really felt like it should have come, like I didn't want to have a kid just for myself, and I fully understand Bas that he's like, okay, I had 2 kids, I don't need to do that anymore, or I don't need to have that. I had that experience. And I think my romantic ideal was, to have this family, to have this beautiful moment of decision. Yes, we want to have this family together, and we want to create that together. And as this wasn't there, and I know he could have adapted, and he would have, loved that child. I know that, but still, it felt off. It didn't feel. Felt like this thing. Okay, for Priska, I'm doing it, and it just didn't feel good. I just felt like a no in my body, even though I had this desire of having a baby. And also going through this whole process of, becoming pregnant and having to, I don't even know, like this whole insemination process, how this works. It just felt like a huge no in my body. And so, yeah, I had to start dealing with the fact that won't be a mom in this in this lifetime. And it has been, it's like waves. It really, like, many women ask me, how are you dealing with that, and it's like waves. Sometimes I'm just so good, and I really know, I still know, and I stand behind my decision. I made the right decision for me in my situation here. This is at least the feeling that I have, also for considering the whole family system that we're in. And sometimes I'm just sad, and I miss her, and I especially miss just Emma. I miss this specific girl that came to me that I felt so dear, so close, and I felt this love, this unconditional love I had for her, like this, I don't know, it's something that you cannot describe. And I just miss her in a way that I never got to be her mother. And I just, I just have found peace with the fact that this sadness comes from time to time, that I have this feeling of missing out from time to time, that I sometimes watch, you know, mothers, and I feel this wave of missing or sadness. And I also know by being a parent now, even if it's just a step parent, what it means to be a parent, and how big of a sacrifice of the own person it is that when you're giving yourself to a child, and how your life is changing. And of course, I've also seen it with with my sister, with my she just became a mom last year, or my friends. Yeah, just going through this whole process and know how life changing it is, and how much of a cutback it also is. So I know the pro cons, I think, quite clearly. And this is just how the reality is. And I think for, even though I never wanted to be a mom first, and then I wanted to be a mom like my life depended on it. It was such a deep wish, and now it's gone again. I feel this is something that is just a part of this whole human experience. And maybe I used to be a mom in an earlier lives, and maybe I'm going to be a mom again in the next life if I come back here. Sometimes I think like, oh no, you know what? I'm done with this being a life thing. But if I should come back, and probably I will, yeah, maybe I will be then a mom, and it's going to be a different experience, and that's okay. But sometimes, yeah, we just like I really felt I find myself feeling really at peace in general when thinking about the topic, and I really believe that that like forcing it wouldn't have been, or forcing, I'm just calling it forcing, with us it would have felt somehow forced, because it feels like, yeah, okay, for Priska we have to have a baby now, and it just didn't feel like this whole, it didn't feel whole. I think that's the whole thing I want to say. And also what I'm realizing more and more is that I am living, we all have, I think, a big ideal in our heads. We all have also maybe Hollywood pictures in our heads, and we want to create this safe and round. Like I always say, oh, I wish it to be round, because of course, being in a blended family, it's never round, because there's, yes, this family, but there's also this original system that plays into it, and this system is connected to other systems, so it's never just you and your family. And maybe I also am realizing this is also an ideal that is sounds very romantic, but even if you're having biological kids, it's something that is much less romantic in real life. Maybe you can romanticize it, and that's all good, and I love romanticizing things, but I also see how can easily get lost in this idea of how things could be or can be, rather than just how things are. And yeah, just some thoughts about that, around this topic. And I think no matter where you are on your journey, it's important that this choice that you're making, and I know sometimes you don't have a choice. I had a choice. I could have had this choice of, for example, well, I'd had the choice of looking for another man that could give me a baby if I would be fertile. I don't even know if I'm fertile. I don't know. Or I could have chosen to do the whole insemination process, together with Buzz, or for myself, or whatever. Or yeah, there are several decisions that I could have made, and I really think it's so important that we really listen to our hearts, and that we really look at every situation very individually, and not kind of just think we have to because everybody else is doing it, or because it's the way it has to be, but to really like stop, slow down, and listen to yourself, and go through that very, very unique and very, very personal process with yourself, to look at the things, to really be getting real with yourself, what you are really craving. And yes, I wanted to be a mom, and yes, I wanted to give birth to Emma, and no, life had another choice or decision for me, and it's a good one. And to really embrace also this other thing that is being created for me right now, and the things that I get to learn in this situation, and the space I get to have in this situation. And my heart goes very deeply and much out to you. I don't know if you can say that in English. I don't know. My heart goes out to just everybody who who has this deep wish of becoming a parent and they can't, and there's this deep missing and longing, and I'm really sorry. I'm really sorry because I know partially how it feels. Luckily, I also see how much greatness lies in the journey of not being a parent too, or being a biological parent, because of course I'm a parent. Even though I didn't give birth to these kids, they are here with me, they're living life with me every other week, and we're sharing everything. So yeah, I'm very deeply involved in the process, even though I'm very aware that I'm not the mother, and I don't want to take I can't take anybody's place, because they have a great mother. They don't need a second one. I am just another person in their life. But just want to say like that is really, I think in every situation there's gold to be found if we're ready to see it, if we're ready to embrace it, and to also accept the sadness, no matter what it is, to just accept the pain, accept the sadness, and not make it push it away or make it evil, but to just embrace it. And if we embrace it, then it can just wash over us. I can cry, and then it just goes through me, and then it's okay again. And earlier on, I had these phases very often and very regularly, and now they're coming just from time to time, and it's okay. It's just part of this human experience for me, that we sometimes cannot have it all, and that it's also sometimes for our best that we cannot have it all. So yeah, not and always, but sometimes. I don't want to, you know, sugarcoat shit that really hurts us, or losses that are impacting our lives deeply, to just kind of make them smaller. Absolutely not. That's not what I'm doing here. I just want to say that in every situation, something beautiful can be found if we choose to. So that's my journey of of not being a mom and how I'm dealing with it. And of course, I would love to hear from you how you experienced this, or if you're a mom, how you're experiencing momhood, or yeah, if something that I just spoke to get today has resonated. I'd always love to hear back from you, and to just yeah hear other stories and insights. And I'm here also to learn and to grow together with you. So that's it. Thank you so much for being here with me and for listening to me. And I'm sending much love to each and every one of you. Mwah.